This year, of course, in 2025, I grew the black hole sun sunflower. And I got these seeds from the Experimental Farm Network, and in this video I want to document kind of some of the specs, like surrounding the growth, how tall does this plant get, how much of a diameter does the flower head get, stem base diameter, stuff like that. So I really want to kind of focus on that, kind of maybe see how that might compare to some other sunflowers that some of you might grow, or you know, that I've grown in the past, so that we can get a better idea of what type of crop potential this black hole sun sunflower has, right? And what other varieties might it be comparable to. Alright, so we have a sunflower plant. I'm going to take a measure of the base of the stem with the caliper. And so we're going to look down here. Okay. So basically with this, obviously you have to turn it on with the you know, the red button. You can zero it then, right? So that'll basically kind of equilibrate the reading to, you know, when it's completely closed, it's at 0, just to make sure of that. And then the blue button up top, you can switch to between inches or millimeters, depending on which one you want to use. For scientific purposes, we usually use the millimeters, but here for just like gardening and stuff, probably it doesn't matter. I'll provide both, and then obviously you change that, and there's this little like rolling disc here on the end, and that allows you to open and close the caliper. You make it wider than what you need it to be, and then put it around the stem, close it off, and you don't want to make it tight. You just have a loose touch on either side of that stem, and then it'll take a measurement. So here we're at 23.5. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and use this tape measure and measure the flower diameter. I'm not going to be counting the petal or, you know, or the rays or anything like that, but just that where that seed head portion of that flower is going to be, what is the diameter of that. And then I'm also going to go ahead and measure the total plant height from where that bend in the flower is all the way down to the ground, to try to get an idea of like average height. And so actually what I'm going to do now at this point is I think I'm going to wait a couple of days or so to do the rest of the flower head diameter, just because I have that one flower that I just measured, and it's multiple days ahead of all the other flowers in terms of maturity. And so that flower head has filled out more, right, as those seeds have stretched and matured. Some of the others have yet to do that, so I'm going to give the rest of those measurements a bit of a rest for now, and then I'm just going to go right to plant height. So the stem base diameter I took at the bottom 2-3 inches of the plant or so of that big stalk, that sunflower stalk, and I used the, of course, digital caliper to accomplish that. And so I had measured the stem base diameter of 8 different of those sunflowers, and so I came up with an average of 21.8 millimeters or 0.86 inches. There was some level of variation in the samples, right? Some were like, one was 18.1, and yet some others were in the 30s, right? So potentially some of that variance could be due to not great soil conditions in all parts. I didn't really use much of any compost or any fertility on them. I was honestly not around much at all during the growing season to really take care of those plants like I could. But that was what I got this year, and maybe I will document this later in the future and get very different numbers, or very similar numbers. So I measured the diameter of the flower head, and I got some more consistent numbers with that, right? Ranging from between over 5 inches to over 7 inches in diameter. And so I came down to have an average of 6.8 inches in diameter for flower head width, or diameter. And then regarding plant height, I took measurements of that with a tape measure, and I tried to hit that point where in that arc of the stem at the top where that flower begins to bend down, and so I measured it to the top of that arc. And of course the sunflower plants are very tall. I had a bunch of numbers that were in that 7-foot range, but I had one that was as tall as 8 feet and 2 that were as low as 5 feet. But I had an average of 7 feet and 4 inches in terms of height for this black hole sunflower. Now these are just numbers that I got for in my context, right, in my soil, in my climate, with the wet weather patterns that we got this year. A lot of rain earlier in the season, a lot drier later on in that season. So of course those numbers are not going to be static from year to year or from place to place. So always keep that in mind, but I just wanted to document this so that I can get at least a rough idea of what type of sunflower that I'm dealing with, its whole size and growth characteristics, and how this might fit best into my landscape or into my gardenscape, and ultimately the landscape. Thank you so much for checking out this video on the black hole sunflower and some of the different growth characteristics that this plant can exhibit. So now I've grown this plant, I've been able to document this, and now we can move on to seed collection and uses and stuff like that, and kind of see how all that stuff shakes out in the future. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please feel free to join as a member. Feel free to give this video a like if you like this video, and also, as always, feel free to subscribe. So on that note, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.